Okay, I do see Dr. Alok has joined now. Dr. Sika, can you confirm you are able to hear us?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and I hope I'm audible, Niranga. Can you confirm?
Yes, Giraj, yeah.
Right. So, I'm Giriraj Amarnath, Research Group Lead for Water Data for Climate Resilience. And this session is part of a series of program we are doing on the themes of advancing early warning for all. And so again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening if people are joining from South Asia or Southeast Asia. And it's a great pleasure to welcome you all as part of the Eyes on the Storm webinar series, which started in mid-March. And this theme is very relevant to the month we are talking about in regions like Asia with flooding, excess water, or during regions in some part of the region with prolonged drought and the impact of flash floods and the onset of storms. There are huge challenges, and hydropower is something where it is either going to protect, it's largely designed to protect the communities and useful for economic benefits. And also, there are a lot of issues around the safety and the sustainability of the dam infrastructure and the downstream communities, right? We have seen many disasters around the world, how the dam can also provide a resilience strategy, but also equally provide, when it comes to the disasters as such. But this particular session, we have particularly seen from the point of how do we link early warning to the hydropower sector because it links to irrigation, energy largely, and also looking into much more in from the point of climate change impact. So there are best standards and the science behind the hydropower and the whole hydrological understanding. But that traditional hydrology is no more working because with a lot of risk, the compounded risk or what we see, the uncertain climatic condition, what we are increasingly seeing is the deeply underlinked with the water, energy, and ecosystems as we see broadly. What we want to bring this particular focus is how do we bring the interconnectedness of the tailored early warning and how hydropower infrastructure can be much more resilient. And by integrating with better data, like we today have much more seasonal forecasts that can predict well in advance what kind of El Nino or excess rainfall is predicted, so that the rest of the operators can plan when it comes to the dam operation and the maintenance of that to make an actionable platform. So we have some tools available in IMI and our experts are joining like the Aware for anticipatory action. We have been doing it for how much flows are coming, what would be the preparedness and early action focus that the partners have to do. I'm really thankful to the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure for bringing excellent partners jointly as a session that we are organizing. With that, I would like to, really make sure that our experts are really driving on the areas that we will be learning more about. So we are really excited to hear a lot more from this segment of the presentation. So with that further delay, let me introduce Amit Tripathi. He is a power sector advisor from the CDRI. And the idea of first having this intro presentation is mainly to look at, they have a lot more deep dive when it comes to the community of practice of driving this power sector. How does this is going to be really useful? So Amit brings a lot of specialization in renewable energy and energy efficiency and the angle of climate change. And he has done a lot of consultancy services, designing the program, policy advocacy, and how do we bring all this, the main focus of power sector analysis much more with UN and many other partners around the world he has worked. So on behalf of CDRI, he will be delivering this short presentation. So over to you, Amit. I hope your screen is ready for sharing now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amarnath sir. Just a second, we'll just share. Is it visible to the panelists?
Yes, visible.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let me take this opportunity to thank everyone, especially IWMI, for bringing all of us together. to discuss on this very special and very important topic regarding hydropower resilience and looking with the lens of early warning systems. And we have participation panelists from University of Oxford, NHPC, National Hydropower Corporation India, one of the largest hydropower electric corporations in the world, ADB. ADB doesn't need any introduction, and IHA, of course, the same. Of course, I would let them to talk more technically about the issue around it, because they are the one who faces the most of the brunt, especially the NHPC and ADB as MDB lenders, on these issues of how to make infrastructure resilience, because for them the commercial viability also comes with the resilience, because we look at resilience equivalent to bankability, and that's how we would like to look at the infrastructure resilience. So without much ado, just a second. Just to quickly take you through about who we are. CDRI is as Giriraj just mentioned, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Organization. We are a coalition of 50 countries right now, and we are growing, and 7 partnering organizations, including ADB. And you can see the mix is all across the world. And why hydropower is important for us, because you can see we have Nepal, we have Tajikistan, we have, of course, India, Bhutan as a member. Similarly, in South America, we have Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Guyana, who all are heavily dependent upon hydropower projects. And repeatedly, time and again, in last 1.5 years, we have seen a lot of requests and a lot of conversation with our member countries in order to do specific work around hydropower resilience. They are pretty different because different countries and geography do throw different surprises. For example, in South America, primarily the discussion is around drought. If you look at Ecuador and Colombia, 2024 was pretty bad for them. Ecuador is still grappling. For a few months in a year, they didn't have a power to run the capital city as well. So it was quite a unique challenge for them. Brazil, they have heavily invested in hydropower, but they are facing a lot of issues regarding drought and variability in precipitation. They've built like a huge, massive dams around it, but of course the resilience and then supporting the power sector. Because look, the importance of hydropower is not just the flood management and power generation. Hydropower in today's day and age plays a much more deeper and critical role in managing the grid, the interconnected grid with respect to the more renewables in the system. The more the renewable, you need to balance it out, and hydropower is the cheapest and the most reliable source of grid management all across the world right now existingly. And that's why it's very important to have a hydropower in the mix. And you will see, and we are pretty sure that we're going to see a lot of investment in hydropower vis-a-vis from the angle of renewable energy integration, RE grid integration. So hydropower will play a very critical role in RE integration and energy transition and low carbon pathways in another 20 to 30 years. We have a global engagement in a lot of countries, as you can see. To be speaking, more than 50 countries we are right now catering with the various infrastructure technical assistance program. We haven't started working on hydropower direct technical assistance, but we are going to start soon. But we are working in Chile, where we would be also looking at hydropower. Of course, in India, we have worked on transmission and distribution. If time permits, I would be speaking a little bit about it as well later. Why early warning system is important for hydropower sector? Just to quickly, I think other than the slide which is there, just to quickly throw some recent events that had happened in the hydropower sector from the South Asian perspective, as if I can speak. Both in India, even in Nepal. If you can see last 2 to 3 years, we have seen repeatedly events of extreme weather events, which of course taken a lot of toll on lives, livelihoods, but also on critical infrastructure, including transport and hydropower sector. Organizations have lost assets. Assets means hundreds and thousands of megawatt of power generating capacities in the region. So which sort of throws a lot of questions to how to protect it and how to prevent it if it's possible in a longer run. Because of course, we cannot deny the development that is happening in this region, but it is important to do it in a much more sustainable and resilient way. So as some of the data that you can see, early warning, it becomes crucial because as per our own study, we have found that a 10-fold return on investment with If, for example, if you're going to invest 800 million investment to avoid losses, you might just save nearly almost $16 billion. And through our biennial report, we have came up with the various assessment and which have sort of showcased that every dollar that is spent on resilience gives you a return of almost $4 to $7. So which makes a sort of economic case of building in resilience component, including early warning systems for the larger ecosystem, which will save the assets, but also saves the life and livelihoods. So which is very critical to sort of going forward. And of course, that's the reason we had and we still have a functioning community of practice in CDRI. Where we have IWMI, ADB, WMO, IEA as a partner. We're trying to figure it out, and NHPC, where we are trying to figure it out what's the best way possible and low-hanging fruit for us to start working on early warning system and this specific component with respect to the hydropower project owners. Because we believe, I think we need to sort of look at their demand. And of course, Manjusha ma'am from NHPC, National Hydropower Corporation, will speak a little more about it, and she will share her story because they have been working a lot and they are a success story with respect to early warning system and hydropower sector in the globe as well as in the region. In the next, what we have learned through our community of practice, the CDRI, is the importance of development of decision support system for the operations of hydropower sector. Creation of robust climate database, a climate database which is interoperable, which is interchangeable, and which is shareable with the different geographies and different entities. Right now, the issue with data is sitting in different silos. The flood in Nepal a couple of months back happened in China, in Tibet, impacted Nepal. The question is whether this could have been avoided. So that requires transboundary multi-country cooperation of data and enabling of these hydropower systems. Look, if this is specific to the Andes or Himalayan region, Hindu Kush region, this is very important because the boundaries are there, but extreme weather events sort of surpasses those boundaries. And its impact, the event happens in one geography, but impacts happen in downstream. So it's very important to create that transboundary multi-country cooperation for the early warning systems, which can help and save lives. And then improving financial flows for the resilient infrastructure development, because of course, this will cost, and this cost has to be bared by somebody. It has to be built in a financial model which is profitable and sustainable for the asset owners. And I think entities like NHPC and infrastructure owners are better suited to have these early warning systems deployed and to be shared to the largest society, primarily for the reason because they have a much deeper capabilities, pockets, as well as the ability to maintain and run these systems for the longer period of time. What we have seen that if an entity, an early warning system, for say a standby early warning system being deployed at some place and which doesn't have ownership, I think that moment is not sustained for very long and that whole effort just loses. But if there is entity like NHPC or a larger sort of infrastructure owners globally, if they can help the communities to actually come up with such robust system, I think that can be sustainable for the longer period of time. Policy relevant focus area for us, as I said, multi-stakeholder collaboration, transboundary within utilities and governments. Here we also see a lot of importance of MDBs, Multilateral Development Bank. We have Jinsun from ADB to actually enable the conversation and also enable the systems in order to sort of develop these things. To build in while designing and developing such projects in the region. Impact-based forecasting, we think it's very important. I think trying to bring in hydropower sector with meteorological department together and try to create impact-based forecasting for them. Look, so the best example for impact-based forecasting right now that exists globally is for the agriculture sector. And we need to learn from there to sort of get it deployed in the infrastructure sector as per se. We have come across a lot of time within our community of practice that catchment specific forecasting product is very important for dam map operation. Integration of multi-hazard monitoring, glacier slopes, drought, has to be looked into. Addressing data gaps, as I said, improving cross-border data governance. That's very, very, very important. But there are certain barriers, and I think I will leave to my fellow panelists to discuss more around that. But this has emerged out of our repeated conversation with all our fellow community of practice experts, and which are primarily the operational challenge, data and technology priorities, and regional sectoral consideration. One is primarily the issue is limited real-time monitoring of infrastructure and connectivity issues. That's one. Over reliance on GSM networks need and the importance of satellite-based communication for early warning systems. Difficulty in integrating multi-hazard. GLOFs, as we know, it's not an easy geography. Most of the GLOFs do exist, especially in South Asia, 4,000, 4,500 meters and above. Operating them and managing them is in task. Government of India, and so we are looking from the CDRI perspective, we are looking towards NHPC and Government of India's various other initiatives, which are very specific GLOF focused, and to learn from it and to further design with them the early warning systems for such platforms. And then on the data and technology is primarily the harmonization, sharing across the international boundaries, which is critical. As I said earlier, we have seen repeatedly that impact event happening in one geography impacting others. So that's there. Integration of various data sources, that's important, and access to this thing to the researchers or to the asset owners is also very critical for them. And then the regional and sectoral consideration. So the issue is around also, as we say, there is a lot of a legacy infrastructure that is built in a lot of geographies. So we need to take in consideration of aging infrastructure. There are policy gaps around funding shortage with respect to the resilience. So we haven't really focused around how to integrate resilience in the existing infrastructure assets that per se. Of course, there's also a challenge around the greenfield new infrastructure that we are building. But of course, that can be addressed, I think, in our own experience. Incorporating resilience in a new system is much easier than as an example to the aging infrastructure. And sediment management and so on and so forth. High altitude region, as I said, throws a lot of challenges these days. I think South Asia is grappling with that, and we need to address and come as a community together to talk more specifically on the GLOF related issues and flash floods, and see how best what we can do in this event. So that's something which we have for hydropower, and we look forward to the conversation that we are going to have today and in the future as well, to design and develop our CDRI's program around high mountain. So we are going to have a specific program on the high mountain region, and hydropower asset resilience is very critical and important for us, and our member countries have repeatedly shown interest in that. So we will be developing those TAs specifically to the high mountain region, and we would be I think glad to learn from you all on what can be done and where we need to head towards in order to make it possible. So I think that's it from my side, Giriraj sir. I think we don't have much time for me to take it towards the larger other programs that we did in power sector, but this is primarily related to the hydropower sector that we had discussed in past and that we think is important. But I will leave it to my panelist to use her to actually delve a little more and show us the light and road in order to what can be done best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit, for this excellent presentation. Very brief and clear. It's also very, whatever the CDRI has done with the community of practice, producing this key recommendations on hydropower sector resilience. I do see the last slide specifically. It's very important. You talked about previously the policy integration to the early warning, early action in terms of the challenges and also the data technology. At the end of the day, do we have sufficient time to make actions in the ground when the SOPs are enabled with the hydropower capacity? But I think the added problem is the multi-hazard as well as the sectoral challenges that are very important. Where do we manage how much water to allocate? I think there are a lot more scientific evidences our experts are going to speak, which will be moderated by Dr. Alok Sika. Let me introduce him, and he will in turn introduce the speakers as we go forward. Dr. Alok Sika is our country representative for India and Bangladesh, and also the senior fellow with the International Water Management Institute. Prior, he served as a Deputy Director General for Natural Resource Management at the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, India. And also he had other positions which I'm not going to refer, but importantly being the National Rainfed Area Authority, I think, which is very relevant to this theme of this focus, and also contributing to the Indo-Gangetic Basin when it comes to the CGR program on water and food, what we call is the Challenge Program on Water and Food. So may I request you to introduce the panelists and then and moderate the session. Over to you, Dr. Sikar.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I think this slide is there. Maybe you can unshare that from the CDRI. So anyway, so let me now thank you very much, Giriraj, and for having me as a moderator. And I know that I'm not going to take more time and spend more time in further ado. And so let me just get on to, we'll have two rounds of panel questions. And each panelist, I think you'll have 3 minutes because, time is essence. So we'll have to be very particular about the time. And I know that's always difficult in the panel discussion, but let's try and see that how best we can stick to that. So first, let me go to Dr. Homero Lopez, and he's an associate researcher at the University of Oxford, and he has a DPhil with the experience in global climate and water risk. So I invite you, Homero, to be the first panelist, and I'll share my question with you, and I hope you are ready with that. So maybe you can put your mic on. And the question is, Homero, basically that because you know that you have got a good experience of working on water energy systems. So with your background of that, how can you mention about how can integrated hydrologic and climate models improve early warning for dam operations, especially when we are looking into the transboundary or data scarce region, because both are very challenging, the data scarce as well as the transboundary. So over to you, Homero.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Alok, and thank you very much for everyone for having me here. It's truly an honor to be part of this panel and indeed this interesting discussion. So to answer this question, I would like to first, or I would like to emphasize throughout my 3 minutes that I have left to answer this question on a key word that is in this question, that is integrated. I think this is the backbone of what I'm going to be speaking over the next minute. I would like to ask you to remember or to keep in mind always this word integrated. That is at the end of the day, again, the backbone of all of this. So when we're talking about integrated hydrological and climate models for hydropower systems and indeed energy systems, I would like also to split this integration into three subcomponents. The first one being data modeling, the second one being infrastructure and operations, and the third one being institutions. So what I'm trying to elaborate now is that when we establish this type of models or these type of systems, we're forced to integrate, or this allows us also to integrate, first of all, data modeling, meaning that on the data side, integration means basically putting together a wide number of data sources. So we're talking about ground data, satellite observation and simulation models, probabilistic forecasts, global platforms such as GLOFAS and any others, and also community-based observations, participatory GIS mapping exercises, citizen science, etc. So a number of sources, quantitative, semi-quantitative, qualitative, that again allows us to integrate in an appropriate way different types of knowledge. So this is the first advantage that these type of systems bring to us. Again, this integration of different data sources that otherwise perhaps they would be dispersed everywhere. Then as of infrastructure and operations, by establishing this type of systems, we are entering an an integration that allows us to understand the hydropower system through the lenses of metrics of resilience, robustness, and especially thresholds of risks. So again, these integrations allows us to draw the lines to understand when for a hydropower system a risk could happen versus when we are perhaps in under a safe space. And also it allows us to integrate different types of knowledge about our infrastructure. I'm talking here about, for example, in a catchment map or categorize the typology of dams that we have. Are we talking about storage hydropower systems versus run of river systems, and what are the tolerance and indeed threshold risks? Are we talking about also a general integration of cascading of risks? What is the role that basically hydropower failures would have in downstream communities on overall the energy security? And it's also allows us to basically integrate in a broader way different aspects of uncertainty on how we understand uncertainty again for risk decisions for risk or uncertain based type of decisions, and indeed integrating to other sectors. In many cases, it's very common to see that, for example, floods disrupt energy systems not because not because of physical damages to the hydropower dam per se, but because perhaps there are roads connected to that hydropower plant that are completely wiped out or disrupted. So in that case, the energy shock comes from people not being able to access the hydropower plant. So again, this systemic type of integration is what these type of systems lead us to. And last but not least, and I would say perhaps this is the most important one, that is the capacity or the skill that integrated hydrological and climate models lead us to this, again, integration or coordination across multiple sectors and across multiple institutions. The fact that we have an integrated hydrological and climate model, and indeed for energy security, force us as institutions to put in the same table water agencies, dam operators, energy utilities, meteorological services, disaster agencies. Sorry? Yes, I'm wrapping up. Yes, I'm concluding. So at the end of the day, putting together this type of agencies, it's what is fundamental. And again, this integration allows us to be to put together this coordination that is essential for energy security.
All right. So thank you very much, Amero. And so I move on to thank you very much, and I'll again come back to you with the next round after some time. Am I audible to you? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So now I move to Manjusha Mishra. So Manjusha Mishra, she is the general manager with the NHPC India, and she comes with a specialization of Masters in Water Resources Engineering. So Manjusha, please put on your mic, and also if we can see you on the screen.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, and thank you very much. And now what we would like to know from you is that, NHPC is one of the major hydropower operator in India, or maybe I can say in this region. And how does NHPC currently use the hydrometeorological forecast in dam management decisions, making decisions for the dam management and operations? And what are the challenges in adapting real-time or predictive tools into operations?
Okay, so regarding if I would like to start with what we were doing 2 years back or 3 years back, and then how we are adopting with the additional knowledge. So 2 to 3 years back, we were not really using any forecasting method, except that we were. Am I audible, sir? Yeah. Except that
Yes,
forecasting, yeah, we were getting from IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. That was also qualitative. And so, at some of our projects, Central Water Commission was giving some information about the long-term forecast. that we used to see, and accordingly we used to somehow we were going to react, and we had some WhatsApp groups. Accordingly, we disseminated the information. This was about 2 to 3 years back. Then now we have established a proper early warning system network and sensors, which is based on sensors of the upstreams. And we also have developed a master control room at our Faridabad corporate office, in which we have integrated all the power stations and projects of NHPC, as well as it is our mandate to integrate other developers also in this master control room. So the basic structure of this forecast is that we are establishing sensor upstream at upstream location, and then based on that data, we are actually predicting the discharge which is going to come in our dam location, and we kept some threshold values also, that so that if that threshold value crosses, so we have also developed a software for that. So automatically alert would be generated. We have 24/7 monitoring for that, and accordingly we have somehow automated the this forecasting for our as well as other power stations. And we have with the help of NDMA also, we have integrated NDMA alert also in our system. We have integrated IMD alerts, also CWC alerts. So we are sort of strengthening it one by one, and accordingly we are reacting to the alerts at the project location. So this is the way we are progressing and updating our forecast system, and finally updating our this reaction on to that.
So now when you are getting alerts from multiple sources, as you said, IMD and others, so don't you get confused sometimes if there are different alerts coming? Then how do you kind of make a sense that which one is?
Yes. So actually, alerts are coming in different ways. Say, IMD forecasting more or less is qualitative.
Okay.
That this is the location where we are getting a red alert or something like that. But the sensors that we have established, which is the primary source of information that we are getting, once we get the alert, then we check with the IMD data also. We check with the CWC data also, if we have that there. The first priority is given to our alert only, the census piece.
All right. Thank you very much, Manjusha. I'll come back to you. Thank you very much for thing. And now I move on to another panelist, Jinsun Lim. Jinsun she is a climate change specialist with ADB, Asian Development Bank, and her specialization is in climate change, resilience, and environment. And so, Jinsun, I have a question for you in the same breath that how is ADB incorporating the climate risk into hydropower investments? And are there examples where forecast-based or impact-based planning has really influenced infrastructure design or its financing? I think you are on mute.
Thank you very much, Alok.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Alok, and thank you very much for IWMI and also CDRI for inviting me to this wonderful webinar and very timely webinar. I would like to introduce some of the process of the ADB, how we are developing this kind of climate resilient hydropower projects. So we aim to meet the highest standard in terms of the climate resilience of hydropower plants, and ADB has financed around 30 hydropower plants in the past 20 years. And of course, more than 20 years, it's much more numbers, but I'm just talking about the latest 2 decades. And all hydropower projects go through the robust climate risk screening and assessment. At least there are 3 steps. And before the project approval, we try to make sure that all the climate resilience materials and measures are integrated into the design of the hydropower plants and also operation schemes. So the extensive assessments includes some of the historical data check, of course, and also future climate risk assessments as well, hydrological and sediment studies. And if needed, they also include the geotechnical analyses and seismic studies. Such early stage assessments help avoid the climate impacts and ensure the hydropower can operate resiliently with and aligned with sustainability goals and international good practices as well. And also, we try to make sure that through our safeguards that they meet the requirements in terms of ecological and social footprint. So I just want to briefly introduce one example that ADB recently approved a project, which is called the Tina River Hydropower in Solomon Islands. And the design was determined based on the very detailed climate risk assessments. It increased the spillway capacity, given that we are assuming that there will be more intensified tropical cyclones will pass, and also the heavy rainfall intensity will increase. So actually, according to the risk assessment, we found that the Tina River Basin's extreme water flow could increase about 25 to 30%. So it also includes these kind of dam operation, dam break analysis, and these kind of studies were included. And also we added some of the emergency preparation plans against floods as well. Of course, as we are talking about the early warning and also monitoring systems, and these kind of components are also included to cope with the flood management in advance. So I would like to talk about a little bit more in the next round of the question.
All right, so thank you very much, and I'll come back to you again. And next, I move to our fourth panelist, Lee, who is Energy Policy Manager with the International Hydropower Association, and she also comes with a background of sustainable water resources governance. So over to you, Lee, and if you can, and I have a, maybe I think, Lee, you can come, and I have a question for you, which says that because how is the IHA supporting global efforts and best practices to embed early warning systems into hydropower policy and practice? That's the first part. And the next part is how are member countries approaching the integration of early warning systems into hydropower planning and operations, especially in the context of climate resilience. So over to you, Lee.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you for having me today. And I'm really pleased to joining this wonderful discussion. I'd like to just say a few more words about the International Hydropower Association, or IHA. We are a global nonprofit membership organization, the voice of sustainable hydropower. We operate in over 120 countries, representing members ranging from hydropower owners, operators, to developers, designers, suppliers, and consultants. Our mission is simple. We aim to build a world where energy and water needs are met through sustainable hydropower. On this crucial topic at IHA, we see early warning systems are essential for hydropower resilience. As mentioned by other panelists, we quite agree that floods, cyclones, droughts, these climate risks are growing, and relying on historical data alone is no longer enough. Today, we need dynamic systems that integrate climate forecasts, hydrology, and real-time dam data. We do reckon that IHA members are leading the way, proactively updating operations to build climate resilience. I have an example that in Tajikistan, we see that operators have linked flood modeling with early warning triggers, protecting both dams and communities by enabling timely evacuations. So the key takeaways from our members' practices is that early warning systems are key to save lives and reduce losses by giving advance notice of floods, droughts, and extreme weather. And as mentioned, integration with infrastructure is very essential. So warnings must connect to hydropower and water management operations to trigger timely and effective responses. We do also recognize that there are challenges ahead of us. So many regions still lack reliable hazard data and interoperational platforms and localized warning dissemination. So this weakens the impact of existing systems. One recommendation we would provide is that public-private partnerships are crucial. By combining scientific predictions, operator expertise, and government coordination, early warning systems can become standard practice, not optional. So in sum, hydropower can only fully support the clean energy transition if it is climate resilient. And early warning systems are not extras. They are core to safety and sustainability. Thank you.
Now it takes us to the next round. And in the next round, we're trying to move from operationalizing the risk-informed decision-making. So here, I again invite Homero. And Homero, the question to you in this particular round from early warning to action is that what institutional or technical innovations are needed to ensure that early warning systems do not just generate alerts, but also trigger concrete operational decisions in hydropower systems?
That's thank you very much. That's a very good question. And as of the technical innovations that we need to address, first of all, is one of the points that I was mentioning before, is that we have to make sure that we have this system, let's say, of triggers or thresholds of risk well established. That's a fundamental component. And of course, to come into this threshold of risk or trigger of actions, there's a lot of work that is behind the scenes. Then, of course, from a much more technical point of view, we have the need of adequately integrating several type of models and several type of data sets. We have, of course, now with the advantages of machine learning, artificial intelligence, we have tremendous opportunities to fill in gaps when of historical observations, stream flows, and so on. But that's not the only thing. We have to get started by implementing or by making use of traditional models that might be available not just globally for a specific area of interest. We have a wide range of models, wide range of tools. It's not that one is best than the other, but always to make sure that we're trying to use a right model for a specific type of application. Then at the same time, as I was mentioning before, that is not very technical from a modeling point of view, but this institutional coordination is very important. In some cases, you have the weather agency not communicating with the energy one. You have a flood happening, and the water agency knows that there's a flood happening. They don't pick up the phone to communicate with the energy agency or the disaster risk agency. So these type of technical, or I would say agreements, coordinations are tremendously essential that go beyond of just modeling or establishing modeling modules along the technical chain. But again, making sure that these components are useful are very important. And then, of course, to go back again to the technical side, nowadays we have tremendous advantages. Satellites observations to filling observations. We have, of course, more computing power to simulate non-stationarity, stochastic time series, to understand uncertainty, etc., etc. So there's a wide range of opportunities. Is my main message here, that to make I would say informed decisions about when to trigger actions and when not.
All right. Thank you very much for that, and very pinpointed. And the next, uh, uh, Manjusha, I have the next question for you. And can you share an example where early warning on mitigating, and how are cases being institutionalized across your projects or other projects in the country and around?
So, just to be clear, you wanted to know some of the benefits, tangible benefit we could see from early warning system in some of our projects.
You can see how it has really early warning prevented or mitigated the major operational risk. Operational risk could be, of course, any kind of operational risk will ultimately lead to some kind of a disaster. It could be in any forms.
Sir, I would like to share some of the examples of our projects. Some example for our construction projects and some for our operational projects. So 2 or 3 projects like Subansi Lower project, you must have heard about it, largest project of India. Here we could save lives of around 5,000 workers, at least 4 to 5 times, because of this early warning system, and we were able to evacuate them timely. And also we could save equipments worth crores of rupees because we could shift them timely. So because of this early warning system, we installed around for a warning of around 6 to 7 hours. Similarly, in Rangit 4 project, in Kiru project, which is in J&K, these in all projects, their number of workers were less 200, 100 different time spans. There also, because of the early warning system, we could timely evacuate them, and we could save the equipment worth crores of rupees. And we installed the equipment, the early warning system in few lakhs only. So this is the cost benefit analysis that we are talking about. And if operational budget, I would like to give you one example of recent event that which happened in this Sange, in a project which is located in Sange project, Sange River, Parvati 3 project. And there was an event in Jivanala. You must have heard about that. There was a cloudburst in Jivanala. And Jivanala is a tributary of Sange River, where a cloudburst happened, and several people died just downstream of that Jivanala. But because of this project, because we got the warning, because of the early warning system, the project is Rockfield Dam, and we could immediately open the gate, and we could pass that flood that came from this Jivanala. So that way this is the way that we operated that project. So even the downstream people, they were happy because of the early warning system, they were saved because of this timely action which we took because of this early warning system we have installed over there. And this is not the sensor based, this is also the manual based also, because we have given this redundancy also, that if even when sensor is not working, we get the calls, we get the information through WhatsApp also. So this way we are able to do these are some of the examples that we have noticed. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Good that now WhatsApp groups are also becoming common way of communication. So that's really a good thing. So thank you very much, Manjusha. And I move on to Jinsun Lim. So from ADB. So Jinsun, my question to you is that what are the action in hydropower sector across Asia, and how can multilateral development banks like ADB support these approaches through climate finance? I think you are on mute.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. So first of all, about the potential and opportunities in terms of the hydropower sector anticipatory actions, I would like to emphasize first that hydropower is the largest source of the renewable energy in the world, and also more than 50% of the installed hydropower capacity is located in Asia in the Pacific region. And according to the IHA, actually, this is a region with the biggest unutilized hydropower technical potential as well. So, and also we are expecting that hydropower will deliver the key flexibility role with the rapid integration of the renewable energy in the region as well. So we are really seriously thinking the resilience measures against any kind of climate-related disasters or hazard should be integrated into the hydropower design. However, in many cases in the developing countries in Asia Pacific, the hydropower investments require some public investments components. So many governments and multilateral development banks like ADB is partnering the investments. So ADB's role in hydropower development remain very, very relevant, and we are offering adequate resourcing and also technical assistance from the early stage to ensure these potential projects will be climate resilient and long-term benefits. To ensure this, we are, for instance, providing some of the technical assistance for establishing and operating early warning systems with aims to support not only reliable hydropower generation, but also cross-sectoral benefits, such as, of course, it can bring some advantage of the disaster risk reduction and other infrastructure, service delivery, and other social economic activities as well. We are also providing a lot of capacity building programs to address climate risks and implement these kind of climate resilience measures. I just want to very briefly talk about our recently launched Sustainable Large Hydropower Development Technical Assistance, which aims to expand the adoption of innovative and very advanced digital technologies in the design and operation of sustainable hydropower projects. So it includes automated, smart, and digital technology solutions for data collection, monitoring, early warning systems, forecasting, and operation planning, and etc. So by providing these kind of technical assistance, capacity building, and knowledge products, we are trying to support the developing countries to integrate the climate resilience components successfully.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jinsun. And I think this is the last question to the fourth panelist, Lee. It's Lee, what role can international standards and the guidelines like what IHA's hydropower sustainability tools play in making early warning integration a norm rather than an exception in the sector? So over to you, Lee.
Thank you, Alok. I think this question is key to understand why international standards matter. Across the hydropower sector, we see that practices vary widely. Some operators prefer to use climate forecasts, flood modeling, and community warnings, while others still rely on historical data. Without common standards, resilience and early warning remain an exception. So with our sister organization, Hydropower Sustainable Alliance, we have developed a series of international guidelines like the Hydropower Sustainable Tools that provide clear benchmarks for good practices across environmental, societal, governance, and climate resilience dimensions. One of our key tools is called Hydropower Sector Climate Resilience Guide, which is developed with the World Bank in 2019. And in 2025, with the support from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, we have updated this guide, which currently is revised. It provides guidance for managing climate risks, in new and existing projects. And it's also used in project design, due diligence, and financing. So by linking early warning protocols to lenders' requirements, the guide sets a clear industry benchmark when financiers expect credible climate risk assessments, developers respond. So with these international standards, we think it's important that we can that they fulfill three roles. First, consistency. So they set common expectations, so resilience and early warning systems are standard. And secondly, they help to unlock finance, making resilience visible to lenders and investors. And thirdly, these guidance enable learning because as we see that climate conditions evolve over time and our practices also evolve. So through feedback, we ensure that the guidance keep pace with emerging risks. So there are places I can say in Asia, our members have integrated with sustainability certification, which actually gives developers incentive for reputation, raising their reputation, and having financial incentives. So ultimately, our goal is quite clear. Again, early warning system and integration should be the new normal for the entire sector, not an exception. And I will leave some website and web page for in the chat so people can access these guidance. I'd also like to advertise that we will have an official launch in September 9th and 10th in Paris this year to launch this guidance, and we welcome you to join us for that occasion. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much. I think this brings us to the close of all the questions and the panel discussion. And Giriraj, I think there are some questions in the Q&A and chat, and I don't see there is time. There we are left with only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So what is your take?
maybe-
You just
maybe
please
we
take it
can-
forward.
Yeah, we can maybe take one or two questions live from the participants. Maybe you can raise your hand or unmute yourself, and you have any specific
And the rest can be answered online.
Yeah. So you have any very immediate questions to our experts as well as our presenter from CDRI, do raise your hand. But while they are going to raise their hand, let me also, anybody can pick up. There was a question around how early warning systems are monitored, from the point of responsible in terms of monitoring and also making this alert from the point of triggers, etc. So we have different country experiences, right? So what do you think? ADB has been doing a lot of projects in reservoir infrastructure development, but also parallelly helping countries with early warning systems and all. So I don't know, this is question open to all. Anybody would like to reflect on that question, feel free to take it a minute or so to clarify.
May I take this question, sir?
Sure. Please go ahead.
Sir, regarding hydropower projects, even for all the dams, Dam Safety Act has mandated all the owners of the dam to implement early warning system. So I think the responsibility lies with the dam owners that they are supposed to know about this, how the early warning system is working and whether it is giving the right alert or not. This is
that is, I think, Manjusha, right, because that is something which India has done a great job of having a Dam Safety Act. And so with this Dam Safety Act, I think these things have become much more possible, and what Manjusha you are telling, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Is there any other experts would like to respond briefly? I see Amit, over to you. You're muted.
Sorry, Dr. Giriraj Amar. Amit had to actually just jump out for a very urgent meeting with the Chilean authorities. So I will
Yeah,
make sure that he responds via
sure.
email.
We see a participant have raised. You can unmute and ask your question. Maybe the last question, very briefly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Go ahead,
The
please.
presenters and the panelists, I appreciate this presentation. My name is Bola Magbagbiola. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I did my MSc thesis at IHE Delft, and I worked on a river basin organization in Lagos, in Ogun State. And somehow I did, some work regarding river flooding, and I was privileged to visit the hydropower component that was attached to a particular dam. And I realized along the line that dam, the hydropower component, has been installed since 1983 and has remained, not used to date. And I've been wondering, I want to know, is the component, if they want to put it to use now, is the component is the system, is it compatible with the latest technologies? Would they be able to, put that particular hydropower component that has been designed, installed in 1983, can they still be able to use it, or they have to build a new one entirely? Thank you.
One of the expert can briefly take this question, briefly respond. Over. Yeah, Homirio.
Yeah, I think that I just can quickly mention, and sorry if I don't have a very specific response to this, but just that this is a very particular case that I think would require to examine this particular system. I don't think it's something that we can say yes or no based on the date. Usually this is something that requires a further examination of of the performance, what's going on, if there's anything that is basically that requires an update, a replacement, etc. So it's very hard, I think, to tell from here at least without checking more in detail, more the information on all of this.
I
Okay.
just quickly add, if I
Sure.
may, the guide that I mentioned, the hydropower climate resilience guide, does provide a checklist sort of guidance for you to go through a number of areas where you can look at to improve your project's resilience. So capacity to in terms of responding to climate risks. So it applies to new projects, but it also can be applied to existing projects. But I do recognize and appreciate that, as mentioned, existing projects, particularly those aging projects, may face a lot more difficulties in terms of improving its resilience. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I think that brings to the close of this session. I really thank CDRI for collaborating on this webinar, and as well as the excellent intervention from all the experts around the world. And importantly, also Dr. Sika for moderating this session. Thank you so much, and look forward to another opportunity to meet all of you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.